Byju, congratulations. And I'm saying congratulations on behalf of all of us in the country, in the startup ecosystem, because what a phenomenal acquisition. I can say, $300 million all cash deal is unprecedented in this unprecedented time. And what got you to acquire, and tell us about the deal?
Okay, I think we should all congratulate Whitehat Jr. as Karan and the management team for doing something phenomenal in a short span of time. It's almost defining, creating, and I won't say owning the segment, because these are still early days. There's a lot of promise. Now, obviously, together we have to justify and we have to live up to those expectations. But otherwise, it's very good for the ecosystem. Like exits like this is what gets more people to become entrepreneurs.
Yes.
This is what attracts more and more good capital, because otherwise one question which all investors ask, like every time I face that, is, okay, we have not seen many large exits in India. So it's time that we start showing the maturity, which we know that it's like just about developing and there are a lot of companies breaking out. Expect this to happen more frequently in the future across sectors, though like the current time it's like this is one sector which is at inflection point, so it makes sense to add companies which will add value to our users, as well as which can potentially help us to scale in new markets.
Yeah.
So for me, it was easy in a way. I met Karan only 6 weeks back. A simple WhatsApp message, just to give you a bit more, just to dramatize the story a little more. A very simple WhatsApp message. We got onto a Zoom call, and then when I saw the vision of what they were actually building, and obviously we immediately connected, and it was we were able to build conviction really fast around two things. Now, we've always looked at expanding TAM, but using three pillars. One, by adding more grades. We have done that. Now we have full coverage from pre-K to 12, adding more subjects, and also looking at new markets. So this acquisition fits into two of these pillars. So it was in a way easy. So you like, now one, it's adding a subject like coding, which is an important future skill. And there's a growing percentage of parents and students who realize it. The second one is the fact that it's also giving us an opportunity to accelerate our international expansion, more specifically, or to begin with US. One thing which they've done very well is in a very short, it'll be good to just to bring out this point that a year back there were just 7 employees, and it's just 18 or 19 months old. In a short span of time, like creating a product which is loved by kids, and also creating a business model on top of that, and very capital efficient. They've raised only 10 million, and it's already like cash flow positive. They have more money in the bank. And when we met them, they were at like 75 million run rate. Now they're at 150 million run rate. So that way it's become a lot more attractive from that point of view. But over the next few months, we'll be able to justify.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Byju, what I'm hearing from you is it was a short 6-week window. You took the decision in 6 weeks.
No, we closed the deal in 6 weeks. Decision was much faster, because now it's a lot more efficient, as all of us are realizing how good meetings are online, and just like the students realizing how good this can be. I'm not like, and those who are experiencing the benefit of doing it this way, you can expect them to continue doing it this way on the other side of the crisis. I'm sure you will do a lot more online meetings even on the other side of the crisis, just like your students will continue learning online, which complementing what happens in school. So that way, this is the right sector to be in now, not just from an opportunity point of view, but also the long-term impact which you can create in this sector. As I always tell, it's a double impact sector. You end up doing good, or you do good, you will end up doing well. Now, there is also in this, with this acquisition, we have one more opportunity to create, it's almost like this. If and when we add, let's say 2 million students onto the Whitehat Junior platform, by that time we would have also created like literally 100,000 teaching jobs and well-paying teaching jobs. So obviously, now that's the opportunity. Now there's a long way to go before we reach anywhere close to that. But it's good time that we bring we attract a lot more good people back into teaching, and that's how you improve the system.
we don't hear much, but I think you have done acquisitions. And of course, this is very large and very significant. Just want to get an understanding for all the entrepreneurs out there who are building interesting businesses. What are some of the opportunities that you are looking at? Now I'm sure everyone would be looking at Byju and the next acquisition. So what are some of the spaces that are interesting for you?
Like we have not done acquisitions just for the sake of acquiring a company
Yeah.
and adding to the top line. Like as I mentioned, that we have some clear guidelines in terms of how we shortlist companies and also evaluate teams. So now these are acquisitions which is not to neutralize a competition, as you know, like it's very, very complementary and like an expertise which we don't have. Now, like there are a lot of people who ask the question, why can't you build this on your own? I'm someone who strongly believes that companies are defined by its culture and there's a DNA. Now, like it's not that you can build everything with money. There are things which what you get is not just a business model or a product. You're also getting a team who will like help us scale. Like it's almost like adding few more entrepreneurs, co-founders into the mix so that we can like scale this faster, scale the sector faster, and or even expand the opportunities around this school learning. Now this is that way it's the same age group, so it is not so it makes sense for us to give more to our users. Now it fits very well into our vision of now learn by seeing, learn by playing. This adds a strong component of learn by doing, because there's no better subject which will fit into that definition of learn by doing, because coding beyond so it's not just that all of them will end up taking this as a career option, but more importantly it's expected that those who get into coding, they also become an active learner, and purely because this is a subject where they learn by doing it. Now there is something at the end of every session. Now my son is on this platform. Now I introduced him to this platform only 6 weeks back, also as an evaluation thing, but I was like really impressed with like not just how he got excited about this, but also the paid user NPS is like very high, similar to what we have for Byju's. So now once we don't take we don't waste a lot of time thinking about these acquisitions. Once we build conviction, we make our moves really fast, and now having access to capital in a way helps, because you can decide these things fast and close this, and a lot of times your pace of execution is critical, like sometimes even winning the deals.
But Byju, you have to tell me, what are some of the interesting areas where you have built some conviction?
No, so we don't. It's not necessary. We are very focused on our. We have a very simple thing. We are creating things which will make it easy for students, make it better for students. Now there is an opportunity around. Can you do something to help teachers teach better? That's one opportunity. Where there's. Can you help institutions to come online and with their courses? Can you help them? Because there's a B2B opportunity around that. These are sectors which we are not looking at. If your question is all about what are sectors which we are not looking at, and there's also like I expect there will be a huge demand across reskilling and upskilling. So there's a business model around that. Now again, you have to get the product right. It's not just about now. There are always been sectors which are exciting, but getting the right product market fit, and also having a clear long-term plan around it. Otherwise, if you're just getting into the sector because there is an opportunity, then chances are that once you start hitting the initial few roadblocks, then you will accept defeat. So it's important to build conviction around what you want to actually do. Do you like? It's like a lot of times it's important to do things at the intersection of what you like and what you are good at, not just because there is an opportunity in the sector. Because that's what, if you look at most of the edtech companies, something which is common across the world is that. Maybe it's a coincidence, but it's started by teacher entrepreneurs. Now, teacher entrepreneurs who's been able to now if you're looking at whether it's Stahl, New Oriental, they're all or Linda, they're all led by teacher entrepreneurs. Now it's not just it's not that if you are a teacher entrepreneur you're bound to succeed. It's very important to make sure that they should be open to changing the way they think about themselves think about teaching, and bring technology into it. And using technology not just to skip, but also to improve the way you teach, right? That's where now it's a function of a lot of pieces coming together. That's why I was telling that only if you are thinking of starting up in any of these areas, build conviction around whether you like it, whether you want to do it because there is no short-term success in this sector. Though what you see today, this is an exception here. Generally, in education, it's not just about getting someone's engagement. Now, for an entertainment platform, like the only metric which you need to see is whether can you get them engaged onto the platform? Can you get them hooked onto the screens, right? Here, that's only a leading indicator. What is very, very important is you need to show outcomes, whether it's to students or to parents, right? So you go through that rigorous test year after year. If they don't see improvement, now, whatever be the metric which they use to measure that improvement, whether it's marks in an exam or success in a competitive exam, you have to live up to it. Otherwise, it'll be just it'll be a short-term game, and you can't win this game by trying to build something for 2 or 3 years. Generally, it's a very, very long-term game. That's why it's not an easy sector to show these outcomes. So it's important that you get into this if you are convinced about, if you're passionate about one of these things. Now, you can say that education is something close to people. So as I told you, that there are multiple incentives, not just like making money is not the real incentive here. If you think of it, right? So you create a huge impact if you can be relevant even after a decade. Now, by no means I am telling that we are anywhere close. So it's we are on the right path.
What's the big valuation number?
Well, as a teacher, your most important job is expecting the questions which students will ask. So this is different, but I know where you're going. So,
what's the big valuation that you are at and getting at, and how are you looking at the next few years in terms of outcome? Because you have some marquee investors.
With the business outcome here, it's more like today. I'll say we are at I'll just start with a number. Just before the crisis, we had around 40 million plus free users. That's in almost 4 years since app launch. And in the next 4 months, we were able to add more than 20 million new users onto the platform. Now that shows that there are a lot more students, those who are willing to try out online learning today. Maybe some of them are forced to do it because there is no other format available today, unfortunately, because schools are not closed. After school learning centers are closed. So that shows the long-term potential of this model. And that's why I was using the word that we are at the right part of the curve, and this curve is not going to get flattened out anytime soon. But in terms of business outcome, if you ask me, I am someone who strongly believes that in business and politics, there is nothing called winning. If you can stay in, and if you can stay in the game if I can create something which is relevant even after a decade, right? That's where that's when you can say that that's how the great companies are different from good companies. We are a good company now. There's still many more years left for us to prove that we can be in this. Now, you can't be in this if you, unless and until you are creating the segment and growing with it, right? So now opportunity, if you are talking about an IPO, that will be a clear option because we have a profitable model. That will be that will be an option available to us that sooner than later. To be very honest, I have not thought about the timelines over there, though whether it's 2 years, 3 years now, it's just, I have not thought about it. Now, once we decide, I'm sure we can do that in 24 to 36 months. Now, that's an aspiration, creating a large public company coming out of India. We'll have an option to list in US as well as in India because we are an India-based company. And now this is one sector where if we can prove even in 2 markets that you will it's very rare that in education you will find companies who have been able to create anything outside the home market. So it also adds a lot of responsibility because when in terms of, so we have to, now that will be an option, just like we've always kept options in multiple options. So going public and sooner than later is one of the options, though timelines, if you're expecting a timeline, it's I myself, we have not yet thought seriously about it. Maybe 2 years, 3 years, maybe longer, but we don't need to do that to give exit to the early investors. That's something which we've always kept more buyers than sellers. Now that's it's that's the function of, I'll say, the model is matured enough to attract high quality investors, so long-term patient investors. We have, it's a diverse portfolio of investors, global investors. For a lot of them, it's their first investment in India. We are also attracting more and more investors to look at India. And a good number of them, it's their first investment in India. For some of them, it's their first investment in education. So that we're getting more and more capital into India and showing that there is there's so much growth which you will see in India over the next few years. There is a young population, very aspirational. There's enough talent pool available here. So yeah, it's ecosystem is coming up well. Still a few years behind that of US as well as China, but I am sure like the next 5 to 10 years, you will see a lot more companies breaking out, creating something very specific to the needs which is there in the local market, and not just cut copy paste models.
A brand that wins, and not just in India. I think now that you're expanding globally, like we discussed last time, it's a global multinational that you're building. But you evaded like a master teacher. What's the valuation number?
Like, are you asking, am I chasing a valuation number? Absolutely not.
No, I'm not asking. Are you changing?
I'll say the current valuation is purely a function of we're at an 800 million run rate. We did more than 500 crores last month, growing month on month at 10-15%. Pre-crisis, we were growing at 7 to 8%. So
wow.
we are also adding a strong business model on top, complementary, not just in terms of subject as well as the market opportunity, but also the format itself, because what we have monetized till now, what we have mastered is an asynchronous personalized learning format. What gets added is a very complementary synchronous live one-on-one teaching model. So this will help us to accelerate our growth. So it's the valuation at the end of the day is just a number, but as I've always told, we have consistently proven that valuation with value creation. So
wow.
The last round, if it was about 10.5, now like if you actually take a look at our growth, right? We are growing fast, but it's not growth at any cost. We are also profitable. So that's the reason why we've been able to attract pension funds, sovereign funds, and not just high quality Ps in the last 2-3 rounds, right? So now, like see, if you are not backing it up with value creation, it's just a number, and something short term, right? So that's not how. Like for us, it's been consistently, we've been backing it up with real value creation.
You seem to be enjoying. You're looking fitter. You are in the seat, and this phenomenal acquisition. For all the entrepreneurs and for all the people out there, what is it like? I again want to ask you, what is it that's keeping you going and in such a form, and what can we pick from you?
I think you already answered that in the question itself. But I do this for fun, so that's why it's not I do business for fun, and that's because, as I mentioned, I've been very fortunate enough to have my passion intersecting with the real need, and obviously I had the guts to pursue it. Now I'll pursue it till I get it, and there is nothing like what is that I'm after. Like the day I call it. The day I think it's successful, the game is over. Now, the game is always about raising your aspiration level of what you want to do, and like challenging yourself into like coming out with a better version of you. If you are doing things which you like and things which you are good at, there is no excuse for not putting effort, right? So, like I would say, my simple advice, it's always better to for most of us get into a wrong game, and I'm not just talking about entrepreneurs. Maybe that's what our school system encourages. We end up in a game of you versus others. Just stay in the game and be in a game of you versus you. The moment you change that game, then there is no failure, because every failure is something which you will learn from. And when you are losing to yourself, nobody knows, and there is no pressure. But every time you will create better benchmarks. So raise your bar of what. Like I always tell that all of us are far better than what we think we are. All of us can do a lot more than what we think we can do. So just raise the bar in terms of what you want to do. And when you're about to reach there, raise the bar again. Then then you will have fun. You'll actually have fun. Just you versus you.